سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وطبيب قلوبنا الرسول الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It is narrated that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam have said, أفضل أعمال أمتي انتظار الفرج من الله. The best deeds of my ummah is to wait for the relief from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. During the period of occultation, during the period of the ghaibah of Imam al-Hujjah ajallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, it is the responsibility of every single individual, every believer, that he or she should establish a special, a unique relationship with the Imam of the time. Now, when the Imam acquires, when the person, the individual acquires the ma'rifah and the knowledge of the Imam, the recognition of the Imam, a unique relationship will happen within, will be established within the heart. As per its capacity, it will become later on a reflection of the Imam's good character and ethics. Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in Surah Al Imran, verse 200, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اصْبِرُوا وَصَابِرُوا وَرَابِطُوا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. O those who believe, be patient, enjoin patience amongst one another, and remain in contact, and be careful of your duty to Allah, lest you succeed. This verse has been explained by the holy Imams, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhim, in various tafasir of the Holy Quran. The Imams have said, O those who believe, remain patient, isbiru, remain patient and steadfast during the period of the ghaibah, during the period of the occultation of Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Be steadfast upon the right path as compared to your enemies, and remain in contact with the awaited Imam. Obey the laws and regulations of Islam, lest you be successful. For sure, you will be amongst those who are successful. The question is, how can I establish that relationship with the Imam of the time? How can I have that special connection with Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman? I want to have that special connection, but what is my role in the time of ghaibah? What is my role in the time of the occultation of the Imam? The answer is in the hadith that I started the lecture with. The Holy Prophet said, أَفْضَلُ أَعْمَالِ أُمَّتِي انتظار الفرج من الله. The best deeds of my ummah is to await or wait for the relief from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That relief from Allah, as mentioned in the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt, is the reappearance of our 12th Imam, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman ajalullah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. So how do we actually wait for the Imam? Brothers and sisters, waiting is not a passive situation. It requires a lot of efforts. It requires a lot of work, a lot of actions to bring about change on both personal and social fronts. If you are expecting a guest to come home, aren't you going to prepare the house, clean the place, prepare food, make sure everything is nice and tidy, and everything is well organized and prepared for your guest before he knocks on the door? Or are you going to wait for him to knock on the door, then you start cleaning up the house and organizing it and preparing food and so on and so forth. What are you going to do? If you are expecting to, or if you want to be amongst those who serve the Imam of the time, do you wait for him to reappear, then you're going to start reforming yourself? Or you're going to start working right now? Or are you going to start working and reforming yourself at this time? We are in the month of Ramadan. This is the month of mercy. This is the month of compassion. This is the month of forgiveness. This is the month in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made so that our willpower will become stronger, so that we can obey Him, so that we can follow Him, so that we can better and improve our characters. As you've known through the deeper meaning of fasting, when you're fasting, you're not just fasting from food and drink. All of your limbs must be fasting. You should not be looking at haram, you should not be hearing haram, you should not be speaking something that is haram. You should not be walking towards haram, you should not be doing something that is haram. This is the true meaning of fasting. Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, is there to prepare us. We are awaiting the reappearance of the Imam. Shouldn't we prepare ourselves? Shouldn't we better ourselves? Shouldn't we try our best to improve our behavior and become better people so that we are ready for His blessed reappearance? So in tonight's talk, I would like to mention a few practical steps and duties that each one of us can do as we wait for the reappearance of the Imam of our time. And inshallah we'll do so after hearing aloud salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Perfect time. The first and most important duty that each one of us must have and must do is to have ma'rifah of the Imam. Ma'rifah is not just knowledge of the Imam. No, deep knowledge of the Imam. Knowing the rights of our Imam. It is one of the key things that each and every believer must have. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, من مات ولم يعرف إمام زمانه مات ميتة جاهلية. One who dies not knowing the Imam of his time has died a death of ignorance. Yani has died a death not on the path of Islam, on a path other than the path of Islam. And this hadith is available in both Shia and Sunni sources. Ma'rifah is to have deep knowledge about the Imam. This means that we should study the life history of the Imam. We should study the biography of our Imam, Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. We should reflect upon his words, his ahadith. We should look into his teachings. We should apply it in our own lives. We should have him as a role model for everything. Brothers and sisters, how connection or have a relationship with someone if I do not know him? Knowing him is something that is necessary. To be able to establish that connection, I must know him. To be able to save my akhirah, I need to have knowledge of the Imam of our time. So it is necessary to spend some time every day to learn about the Imam, to remind myself of who the Imam is, to look into his ahadith and teachings, into his words of wisdom, so that I can better myself. And it is important, brothers and sisters, to note that ma'rifah is not just knowledge alone. Ma'rifah is knowledge that is coupled with action. So it's not enough to know, but I must apply these teachings of the Imam salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. There is a special dua that our sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, has taught us. And reciting this dua on a daily basis is very important, as it acts as a reminder for us to keep the remembrance of our Imam alive in our hearts each and every day. This dua is known as dua zaman al-ghayba. The Imam taught us this dua, Imam al-Sadiq, dua zaman al-ghayba. He said, Allahumma arrafni nafsak. فإنك إن لم تعرفني نفسك لم أعرف نبيك. اللهم عرفني رسولك. فإنك إن لم تعرفني رسولك لم أعرف حجتك. اللهم عرفني حجتك. فإنك إن لم تعرفني حجتك ضللت عن ديني. Oh Allah, introduce yourself to me. For if you do not introduce yourself to me, I would not know your prophet. Oh Allah, introduce your messenger to me. For if I do not recognize your messenger, I would not recognize your proof. Oh Allah, introduce your proof to me, your hujjah to me. For if I do not recognize your proof on me, then I will deviate from my faith. I will deviate from my religion. So notice that knowledge about the Imam is something that is necessary. Should be amongst our priorities. One of the most important tasks that we must work on each and every day is to gain that ma'rifah, to gain that knowledge, to gain that deep knowledge of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, and this will result in saving us from being on the path of those who are deviants. Because if I do not know the Imam, then I will not be on the Siratul Mustaqim, as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, Man mata wa lam ya'rif imama zamana, mata mitatan jahiliya. One who dies not knowing the Imam of his time has died a death of ignorance. That's the first and most important duty that one must have. A second duty towards the Imam salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi is to avoid gatherings where the Imam salamullahi alayhi is not respected. And this is something that should be a given. At the most basic level, we should dissociate from those who ridicule or minimize or insult our Imams. I mean, tawalli and tabarri are amongst the branches of faith, are amongst our furu' ad-din. We must obey the Imam. We must refrain from any gatherings in which Islamic laws are being transgressed upon, in which social hijab and ethics is ignored, in which the remembrance of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam is forgotten. The Imam salamullahi alayhi himself tells us, Imam al-Zaman salamullahi alayhi, he tells us, one who believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment does not sit in a place where a believer is criticized, where the Imam is being criticized or a believer is being degraded. Notice, one who believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment does not sit in a place where the Imam is being criticized or a believer is being degraded or humiliated. The Imam is saying that a place where an Imam is being insulted and a place where a believer, a mu'min, is being humiliated and degraded is at the same level of immorality. This is how great the right of a believer is in Islam. This is how great the right of a mu'min is in Islam. It's natural that if we are sitting in a place and our Imam is being insulted upon, we will not accept it. We'll stand for that. But do we do the same if a believer is degraded or humiliated? Do we also stand up for them? If a ghiba is being done on a believer, do we also stay away from them, from those people, or stand up for those who are being backbit? We join such conversations. Our Imam has warned us the severity of the consequences of such destructive gatherings that we attend and support. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-An'am, Surah number 6, verse 68, وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَ الَّذِينَ يَخُوضُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ حَتَّى يَخُوضُوا فِي حَدِيثٍ غَيْرِهِ. And when you see those who enter into false discourse about our communications, about our ayat, withdraw from them until they enter into some other discourse. Regarding these verses, our 12th Imam, Imam Mahdi Ajjallah Ta'ala Farajah Al-Sharif, he says there are 3 types of gatherings in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes, and He sends His chastisement and punishment upon its participants. So you should never attend these gatherings. The first of these gatherings is a gathering in which one decides to